सीडी दो ना। हाँ हाँ एक और दो। हाँ बस मुझे सीडी उसके ऐसे दे देती हूँ बस करके देखती हूँ ये पहले वाले पेंसिल वो भी नंबर कितनी मैंने इसके अंदर अच्छा उसमें से एक दे दो। हाँ यहाँ पर दर्जी सबसे आखिरी में पीछे वाली
Today's guest, Dr. Amit Kumar, Director GHRCE College of Engineering, Dr. Priti Bajaj, Dean R&D, Dr. U.S. Wankhede, HOD CSE, Dr. Latesh Malik, faculty members and dear students, a very good morning to one and all. I, Shubhangi Giripunji, Associate Dean R&D, feel privileged to welcome you all to the PhD pre-submission seminar of two research scholars of Computer Science and Engineering Department. First is Mrs. Gauri Dhopavkar. The topic is word sense disambiguation strategies related to machine translation for natural languages. And second scholar is Mr. Amit Khapade. The topic is development of algorithm to enhance the performance of differential evaluation algorithm to find global optimum. On behalf of R&D cell, I welcome Dr. Amit Kumar. I would now request Mrs. Gauri Dhopavkar to deliver the PhD pre-submission seminar.
Good morning, one and all present. Respected Bajaj ma'am, respected Amit Kumar sir, respected heads and deans, I take your permission to start my pre-submission seminar. May I, sir? Thank you. So, this is the pre-submission seminar on the topic word sense disambiguation strategies related to machine translation for natural languages. I am Mrs. Gauri Dhopavkar. I am a PhD scholar in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering GHRCE Nagpur, and I am doing this research under the guidance of Professor Dr. M.M. Kshirsakar, Professor in Department of Computer Technology, YCCE Nagpur. So this is the outline of today's seminar. So first I would go for the introduction of the topic, then we would go for definition of word sense disambiguation, which is of the main interest. Then what is the need of word sense disambiguation? Here on I will call it as WSD. Then aim and objective of the research after understanding the need, then proposed methodology, then details of the implemented system, result analysis and conclusion, references and publications. Next. So, computers are considered as digital computers and they perform the computation given in the instructions are given in the higher level languages. But as we communicate with each other, we feel that all the social animals need and have a language for communication, and that language might be of touch. By touching other person or other animal, we communicate our feelings. Another thing is by using the gestures, we communicate with each other. And third thing is that is using the vocal sound, using the written matter or using the sound or talking vocal sound, we communicate with each other. And this gives rise to the natural language or also called as human language. Next. So what is a natural language? It is a method of human communication in the form of spoken or written. It consists of words which are structured and having certain meaning behind it, and the structuring is in conventional way. It has been decided that for a particular human language, the structure of words should be like that. So examples are Hindi, Marathi, English, French, Japanese, Chinese. There are a number of languages, and in India there are total around 22 official languages which are spoken by people at various regions in India. Next. So as we are talking about the human language and we want to get the computation of human language with the help of computer, so we need to understand first what is the differentiation or what type of comparison we can have for human capabilities and the computer capabilities. So here is that. So humans generally are characterized by slow responsiveness, that is natural, and weak logic and formal reasoning. Sometimes we fail to give the reason behind something, some event, so that is weak logic and formal reasoning. Tendency of higher rates based on the physical capability of that person, based on the environmental conditions. Then quality of cognition, it is the best part, it is the best advantage a human being has. That human mind can differentiate between the events, between the changes, and it can also observe the visual patterns. And that is lacking in the computers, and this is the main area of natural language processing research. So computers are characterized by capacity to retain data and information for years together because of the semiconductor technology used, superior in terms of accuracy, exactness, computational speed and convenience. So these are the some drawbacks and some positivities about the computer as well as the human. So what we think in natural language processing applications, we want to combine the advantages, we want to keep aside the disadvantages, and we want to command the computer for performing the computation or for performing the processing for natural languages. So computer would be instructed using the natural languages, or it would be expected to perform computation on natural languages or human languages. So natural language processing, naturally when we are processing, we are computing some text or some sound or speech using the computer, so that would be considered as the natural language processing. So the definition can be considered as, it refers to the use and ability of the systems to process sentences in a natural language such as English, for example, rather than in specialized high-level languages like C++, Perl, Python and so on. So that is the main target of any natural language processing application. It is related with domains like computer science, then artificial intelligence and computational linguistics. As we are dealing with speech or text, so natural linguistics plays important role. Artificial intelligence, because we are instructing the computer to think like what we think as human beings, and computer science, so specific algorithms are there for solving these problems. So therefore it is related with all these three domains. Next. So the ultimate goal of NLP is to do away with the computer programming languages altogether and deal with natural languages only. Instead of specialized languages, we would only need the human touch, that is human languages. So these are the wide variety of applications of NLP: spelling and grammar checking, optical character recognition, morphological segmentation, question answering, named entity recognition, co-reference resolution, machine translation, part of speech tagging, information retrieval, information extraction, document classification, and so on. In every application which has been listed here, we deal with the textual matter or the sound, or that is the speech signals. As it is a language, every language possesses some sort of ambiguity. Ambiguity refers to the state of having or expressing more than one meaning or sense. That is the ambiguity. That is, which is not clear, which is not precise, that will be considered as the ambiguous. So any linguistic entity, any symbol, a word or a sentence, any text can be understood in more than one way. So here are some types of ambiguity, like it can be intentional ambiguity or it can be unintentional ambiguity. Like intentional ambiguity can be in the literature, like specifically if I want to create some humor, if I want to bring some humor in the text, so I will keep it as the ambiguous sentence or ambiguous word.
Gauri, I'm sorry. Can you come to the work which you have done
Yes.
rather than going to the theory?
Okay, fine.
What is your contribution for last 3 years, 4
Yes.
years?
So the word sense disambiguation, that what I have done for Marathi language, that we will understand now. Word sense disambiguation is the problem of selecting a suitable sense for a word from a set of predefined possibilities. Because words may have number of senses, number of meanings, and out of the multiple meanings I have to choose a proper single sense. That is the word sense disambiguation. For example, as I am doing work for Marathi, so Marathi example has been quoted here. For example, माझी पाठ दुखत आहे. So in this case, part represents the anatomical body part. So and another thing for part is त्याला धडा पाठ आहे. So in this case, part indicates something has been learned by heart. So this is the task which is expected in the disambiguation tool, that it has to find out the exact meaning. So in the first sense it should find out back, in the second sense it should find out the sense as learned by heart. And in every application of natural language processing, the word sense disambiguation serves as the basic building block, and therefore it is very, very important. So based on the literature survey, there are number of techniques available. So like knowledge based disambiguation, where we make use of the machine readable dictionaries, thesauri, computational lexicons, generative lexicons. There is another technique, unsupervised disambiguation and supervised disambiguation, where we provide the data and we train the samples. So this is the aim and objective of the research, to perform a systematic analysis of the nature and extent of semantic ambiguities. Here we are targeting only semantic ambiguities in natural language, that is Marathi has been chosen. Develop a method for automatic word sense disambiguation for Marathi language suitable for NLP applications like machine translation. So one language text would be translated into another, and there while translating the text from one to other language, word sense disambiguation would play the vital role. So Marathi language is very rich in literature. Member of Indo-Aryan family. It is spoken by 1/10 of the generation. System which is developed is knowledge-based system. So knowledge has been made available to the system, and broad set of rules is written. Broad set of rules is created involving different strategies using grammatical and semantic information of Marathi language. Because every language has got certain rules, so we have to stick to those rules, and based on those rules or based on those grammatical patterns, we have set up the set of rules so that proper sense of the concerned word would be obtained. Like there are part of speech, like in English there are part of speech, similar is the case with the Marathi language. So noun has got 10 categories, adjective 10, verb, adverb, pronouns, postpositions likewise. One example I would quote here, like noun, suppose consider noun as amba, that is mango, So see, suppose if I say mi amba khalla, means I have eaten mango. So amba represents fruit as well as amba represents the tree. So that kind of disambiguation is expected in this tool. So likewise there are number of subcategories which are taken care. Next. This is the GUI of the system. The system has been divided or has been designed in number of phases. Like first phase is input sentence is given to the system, and that sentence or that text would be in Marathi language as the source language is Marathi. Word extraction from sentence. The words have been extracted from the given input sentence. Then the sentence type is obtained. Whether the sentence is interrogative, whether the sentence is affirmative, declarative, or whether it is exclamatory, that is obtained in this particular phase 1, and the output is given to the outside world. Then in phase 2, apply pronoun sense rule, then check ambiguity. In this case, the pronoun sense rule is there. Like suppose if I am saying mi जात आहे, I am going, or in this case the word जात is ambiguous because जात represents caste and जात represents going action. So that has to be obtained. So in such cases the pronoun rule would be applied because mi जात आहे. So if pronoun is preceding the particular word which is ambiguous, then in that case the pronoun sense rule would be applied. Then again it would check for ambiguity whether there is more ambiguity. Then another thing is verb sense rule. Like when suppose we consider that generally the last word of the text is or a sentence is generally a verb. Then if the last sense, suppose sometimes it can be a noun or it can be verb. But if that word happens to be the last word of the sentence, then in that case it would treat it as verb only. That is the grammatical rule for Marathi language, and then in that case it will be treated as the verb, it will not be treated as noun. Another rule which we are using is the helping verb sense rule. Suppose for example I say that tu ladu khaun ja. In this case means you eat sweet and then go. So in this case what happens, there are two verbs appearing in the sentence. First is ladu, khaun means eating action has been completed and then going action has been done. So in this case there are two verbs, then which is the correct verb or which is the actual verb in the sentence, that is not clear. So for that purpose we have used the helping verb rule. What happens in this case, the position of the verb is checked, and if the position which of the verb is second last position, then that would be treated as the helping verb, and the last word which is available there and it is representing some action, then that would be treated as the verb. So that kind of helping verb rule is also designed here. Then again check for ambiguity and then output. In phase 3 we have designed more rules which are related to the words. Then at rule, ale rule, bhar rule, lay rule. Suppose sometimes what happens, one word is ambiguous. Then if some suffixes are attached to it, prefixes or suffixes are attached to it, it might be ambiguous or it might not be ambiguous. So in that case this at rule, ale rule, bhar rule, lay rule would be helpful. Like suppose if I say anandat means the state of happiness. If I say gharat means inside the house. So anandat word is exactly same like gharat. Ghar is attached with the suffix, anand is attached with the suffix. But in this case what is happening, anandat is totally different meaning, having totally different meaning than that of the gharat word, because gharat indicates a physical place and inside that physical place I am talking about. And anandat indicates that it is a manovagyanik lakshan, that is it is an indication of the state of the mind. So for that purpose we have written down these rules. Similar is the case for alay, bhar, var, ta, shil, patra, mule. Likewise, because after addition of the suffixes, what happens, the ontology might change, because we are using the knowledge-based structure, that is the ontology, which is given inside the WordNet. WordNet is the database which has been used here, because in Marathi language very less resources were available, so we had to use the WordNet database, which is made available from IIT Mumbai. Then Vadi, Var, Sarkha, Kathi, all these rules would be used whether the word after addition of the suffixes leads to or results into ambiguity or not. That is checked there. In phase 4, another set of the rules, and this set of rules is applied to complete sentence. Earlier rules were for individual words. Now the next rules are for the sentence, complete sentence. Like suppose if I am saying some color. For example, if I say naringi, naringi represents some red color, reddish color. Naringi is also one fruit. Naringi is also one color. So how to identify whether it is relevant to the fruit or whether I am talking about the color. So for that purpose we have written down the color rule, and we check the words before and after the particular ambiguous word in this case. So complete words are used which are available in that particular sentence to correlate what is the maximum closeness, and then we decide with the final sense of that particular word, which is ambiguous word. Similarly, number, pehla, dusra, tisra, pehlanda. Likewise, edible rules, like example I had given you amba. So amba can be plant or amba can be fruit. So edible rules rule is applied for that. Title rule, Mr., Mrs., Aji, Ajoba. So likewise title rule is applied. Then drinkable rule, ras or other type of drinks are there, and then again it would check for the ambiguity, and then again it would go to the final stage. So one by one what we are doing is, we are first extracting the complete sentence into number of words. We are identifying if there are multiple ontologies for a particular word. If directly we find that multiple ontologies are available, then we confirm that okay, it is a ambiguous word having multiple ontologies. Ontology is nothing but the relationship which is made available. Then next part is, we check for the verb rule, we check for the pronoun rule, we check for the affixes, prefixes which are attached to it, and then we go for the complete sentence rule, wherein we go for checking of time, color, number, edible or title, drinkable type of rules. Next. Another is direct sense rule. Sometimes some words do not fit into all these things. So what happens, we have to apply some direct sense. Like we assign the sense to it, and we train the system for dealing with such type of cases. So that would be considered as the direct sense rule. This would be associated with the particular words. Then these are the specialized rules which are adding to the system's efficiency or performance, we can say. Verb sense pattern rule, like verb, whether it is helping verb or the actual verb, that would be there. Then anatomical part sense pattern rule, like some parts of the body of every animal are fixed and their position and their nomenclature is fixed. So what we have done, we have created the database and we have kept the anatomical part. And we have also assigned the job of every part and related words which are useful in those parts. Like in the earlier example, I had taken the word part. So part being the anatomical part or back part of the body, so it will have its specific consideration. So anatomical part sense rule is considered. Then physical place. Suppose if I say hat or hand, so I will talk about this hand. But if I say hata var, means I am not talking about the hand as such, I am talking about the place above that hand. So that kind of differentiation should be there. Table var means not in air, on the table. Binti var means not above wall but in the wall. So that kind of differentiation is there. So therefore physical place is that rule also is being framed. Then time sense rule. Time sense rule is also used for showing the period of time, like it was past time, past tense, is it present tense or is it future tense. So time sense pattern rule is also very helpful. Relational sense pattern rule and normalized sense, these are the very, very important and very efficient type of rules. Like relational sense pattern rule. What happens sometimes, we come across some ambiguous words. Like for example, if I say Raja ne Rani ko har pehnaya. If we consider this sentence in Hindi, suppose similar sentence can be framed in Marathi also. Raja ne Ranila har gatla. Now in this case, har word gives number of ontologies, multiple ontologies. So it is indicative that it will be considered as the ambiguous word. Now what happens? Har is related with number of senses. Like one is garland made up of flowers or made up of precious stones or anything likewise, which is to be जो बनाया जाता है वो हार. Another thing is, in this case, har means parajay or parabhav, defeat we can say. So in that case, there are specific relationships which are universally known. So we have made use of those relationships which are already there and which are established in the language, Marathi language, and then we have created the relational sense pattern rule. So when I say Raja ne Rani ko har pehnaya, so pehnaya and Raja ne, so that becomes associated words with the har word, and then har gives the sense as the garland or something to be worn. And if I say Raja ne सैनिक को हराया या हार दी, या फिर मराठी में राजाची युद्धात हार झाली. Again in this case हार word is used, but युद्ध, हार, झाली, होणे, पराभव, likewise words are used, and that kind of relationship which is universal relationship that has been used in this relation pattern rule. Another example is पात्र rule. वो उस पद के लिए पात्र है. भिक्षु ने पात्र में पानी लाया. In this case again we can establish the relationship, and those relationships can be put inside this relational sense pattern rule. Then another is normalized sense. Like sometimes we are very sure, like in case of helping verbs, that if the verb is on the second position, then it would be definitely a helping verb. So likewise there is a normalization that if this condition happens, then answer would be like this. So in that case, normalized sense rule would be applied for special cases. So we have created some special patterns in this case also, and that gives us the normalized sense rule. After all these things, again it checks for whether there is still any ambiguity present in the sentence, and then if it is present, again the complete loop is followed, and then finally there should not be any ambiguity, or it should be resolved. So the parsers designed, as I have already told you, that WordNet, which is a hierarchical database, we can say, it has been developed by IIT Mumbai, that has been used as a resource for my work. Earlier I had worked, next. So earlier there was WordNet 1.2 version available when I started with the work. Then later on it came up with the updation, and that is WordNet 1.3, and the total work now is dependent on the 1.3. So WordNet is comprising of number of ontologies. So ontology is nothing but relationship, semantic relationship between number of words. Like each node, it is represented in the graphical form. Next. So Marathi WordNet is comprising of number of files, txt files. Like data.txt, it provides details of every word. So around 1 lakh words are present in that database. Earlier in version 1.2, only 40,000 words were present, and therefore the progress was very limited earlier. But with the updation in 1.3, so more number of words are available for testing purpose, and more ontologies have been created in this. Around 400 ontologies are present. Each ontology is having multiple tree type of this structure. So it consists of data txt file. It provides details for every word in the index file. There is one index file where every word's count has been created, and every word's synonyms, antonyms, its meaning, its example, whether it is noun, whether it is a verb, adjective, adverb, verb. So everything has been given in that. So we have designed the parsers for understanding all these text files and accessing the particular ontology or accessing particular data txt file or index txt file. This onto.txt provides ontology details of the words in data file. What kind of ontology is available, what kind of relationship, semantic relationship means meaning-wise relationship is available, so that is given by this onto.txt file. Next. So wordnet.txt file syntax is format is like this. Synset ID, like suppose if I am saying Harvard, so it would have some identification number, so that would be considered as synonym ID, syn ID. So synset ID. Then POS tagging, part of speech, whether it is verb, adjective, noun or adverb, so that would be represented there. The number of words present in synset, like har is having synonyms like gale ki mala or jo bhi kuch hai, so in that case that would be represented as number of words which are having the synonyms, or an actual synset like gale ki mala ya fir fulo ki mala, likewise that can be considered. Number of relations, lexical as well as semantic, so that number would be given, and then 4-digit code relation ID, whether it is antonym, whether it is synonym, that kind of structuring would be done here. So synset ID for which that relationship exists, clause, that is example sentence. Okay, so next. So example, गोड, मधुर, mahur, mahur, मध, साखर इत्यादी सारख्या चवीची. So that is the meaning of it, and example has been quoted. ही द्राक्षे फारच गोड आहे. So that is earlier, this is the explanation of the earlier format, and how it is explained or represented in the ontology nodes. So गुणवत्ता दर्शक, like we are saying good, we are giving its quality, like whether it is good in taste or not. So it can be गुणवत्ता दर्शक, that is qualitative. Then बुद्धिमान, मूर्ख, these are the examples of qualitativeness. Then वर्णनात्मक, that is descriptive, it is represented by DES. So like लाल, पाँच, so that description, kilo bhar, likewise description is there. Then it can also indicate the विशेषण, that is adjective. द्राक्षे फारच गोड आहे, ती मुलगी दिसायला खूप छान आहे, ती मुलगी खूप हुशार आहे. Likewise सुंदर, रानटी, so this kind of relationship which is semantic relationship or indicates the relatedness between the words, that is explained, that is represented by the ontology nodes. So this is the format of index txt where every word is present. So like POS, if it is 1, it indicates noun. If it is 2, it indicates adjective, 3 verb, and 4, if the number 4 is present, then it indicates the adverb. So likewise, all the relationship, this relationship ID is very important. This ID is very important because it is the ontological ID. And from that ontological ID, we can trace up to various relations which are available and which lead to multiple senses. Here it is very clear that Pavitra Sthan, it is having only one sense. That automatically we extract by using the rules that whether the number of senses are multiple or single sense, so that will be made available. This is onto.txt. So this is the ontological structuring. So top level node, so that ID is there 001, and then it can be of any such types. Like the node can be of noun category, can be of adjective, can be of adverb, can be of verb category. And if it is suppose noun category, then there are number of subcategories of noun. Like it will be proper noun, it will be collective or inanimate, that is nirjiv. Then it might be avastha, state, it might be a process. So on. Subcategorization is also available in the ontology, and this leads to like in this case of avastha, you can have the nirjiv, sajiv or samanya naam, common noun is also there along with the proper noun. So likewise categorization, likewise relationship is available, and we make use of this relationship to find out whether the word is ambiguous. That should be identified first, and if it happens to be ambiguous, then we have to get the correct sense extracted from the particular sentence. This is index.txt. Next. So these are the semantic rules which we have already discussed. Like bhar, in this case kshana bhar and pod bhar. So kshana bhar means it is indicating the time. If it is pod bhar means full of, means stomach full, we can say contented state is indicated. Like gharat and anandat we have already discussed. Wadi rule, war, our, sarkha, zaval, kathi rule means nadi kathi, at the banks of the river, and kathi means stick. So that type of ambiguity can be resolved. Then sentence rule, color rule, time rule. Next. Pattern based rules, edible rules, number rules, already we have discussed. This is the GUI for addition of the relational pattern rule. Like we have added standard ontologies, we have created the patterns. Sufficient ontologies were not present in the WordNet 1.3 even, so we had to add certain ontologies on our own. So we have created the semantic relationship, and then we have added those ontologies. As well as we have created this GUI for addition of the relationship. So any user, when using this particular tool, can add his or her own patterns as per the convenience or as per the requirement. So in this case we can see verb can be added, verb pattern can be added, then word pattern can be added, then pronoun pattern can be added. So based on the relationship, like I have explained for har word or patra word, so similar kind of relationships can be added anytime as and when required in this case. So no need to go for the code, directly we can add the things into this particular GUI. So this is the relation pattern rule. In this case again, the example, this is the output snapshot, we can say mala dhada path hai. Earlier we had said considered the example of path word. In this case path means learn by heart. Mala dhada path hai means without looking into any paper I can say it. So that meaning has been obtained there. नोंदीच्या साह्या वाचून हवे तेव्हा तोंडाने म्हणता येईल असे. Means without referring any document as such, the output has been obtained. And here we can see dhada and part, these two words are ambiguous because part refers to anatomical part as well as part refers to lesson as well as part refers to learn by heart. So that kind of disambiguation has been done. Here त्याने गळ्यात हार घातला, दोऱ्यात काही वस्तू गुंफून बनवलेला सर. Using the thread, the garland has been created. Next. Similarly, सैनिकाची युद्धात हार झाली. So har is ambiguous in this case, and har indicates the defeat state. So this is the conclusion. The system developed is knowledge-based solution, and number of ontologies are present. If the ontologies are not available, then we have created those ontologies. And almost every word which is ambiguous in Marathi language is taken care. And why Marathi has been chosen? Because it is a native language of Maharashtra, and very less work has been carried out in Marathi language. And when I am talking about the machine translation as the application of this word sense disambiguation, so lot of literature work is available which can be translated in other languages. And many times in literature we find or we come across such kind of ambiguity. So to deal with that, I have chosen the Marathi language for the work. 92% is accuracy, 8% is remaining because we are at present dealing with one type of ambiguity at a time, and it is at sentence level. It is not taking complete paragraph as such. One by one it goes on taking the sentence. So sometimes when it cannot detect the multiple ontologies, so that time it gives the error in that case, and therefore 8% is still remaining. So these are the references. These are publications. Thank you.
It was really interesting. One quick change from your references is go back to the slide. That is not Explorer, that is Explore, which you are putting as IEEE Explorer. The publications column. Go to the publications part. Yeah. Down, that is IEEE Explorer you have written.
Yeah.
Everywhere it is Explore.
Yeah.
So change that.
Yes.
My question to you is since I do not know Marathi, I understood most of the part which you have done technically. Let's say when I say apple, apple is a company and apple is a fruit as well. So tell me, how do you use your ontological approach to bifurcate these two meanings?
Yeah. So, sir, apple has got two meanings. It is a categorization of the noun, first of all, and another is apple company, that can be considered as the proper noun. So both are belonging to noun category. So POS tagging would not be different in this case. It is noun only, that is 1. POS would be equal to 1. But now in this case, we would go for the sub-categorization, that noun and then proper noun or common noun. Likewise, the tool would first identify this based on the neighboring words, which is called as contextual words. Like suppose if I say, मैंने apple खाया. So in this case, or I have eaten apple. So eating an apple, that is the physical action. So the rules which we have designed, so that correlates with the neighboring words.
Let's say if somebody asked me, which phone did you buy? I will answer, I got apple. So here if you see the neighboring words, they also do not guide you that what apple is that. Until or unless you do not know the question.
Go back for more reference. Yeah. So that problem, because of there is only 8% error rate is there. Because unless and until the contextual things are not clear, because it is language. If we ask it to some human being, I got an apple. So he also would not be able to give the correct answer. Means it is 50-50%. He might give correct or he might not give correct answer.
Okay. Tell me about the POS thing what you are talking about. What is the simplest approach for POS if you imagine something, as you were telling the accent of the things. Same thing spoke in a different accent will mean different. So what is the simplest POS approach according to you?
That would be rule based only. Simplest approach is rule based only.
But for you it may be a different rule, I can frame a different rule.
Yeah.
In Marathi the accent may be a different thing, in Hindi it may be a different thing. So there will be a never meeting kind of thing if you use only the rule based thing according to your imagination. See, the recommendation why I asked this question is not to question, but to recommend you that what I see is that you don't have any inclusion of the clustering techniques in your research. If you walk towards the clustering approach, maybe all the nouns, similar kind of nouns in a different cluster, other kind of nouns in a different cluster, the other proverbs in a different cluster, and then based upon the proper utility, if you can cluster those and then if you connect to the main GUI, I think the results will be a bit faster. How long it takes for 5-word sentence?
Yeah, around 10 to 12 milliseconds only it takes.
So
It
I
is
think-
faster. Because sir, in ontology, we are taking care of those relatedness. The semantic relatedness has been taken care in the ontology. And we are extracting each node. Like suppose if I am not satisfied with the noun category, then I would go inside it and I would go check for whether it is proper noun, whether it is noun, whether it is avastha, whether it is state likewise. So that way clustering has been done in this case.
But I think the connection is not proper with the clusters. The connection, what I see here as per your examples, is individualized. It's not very cluster based, depending upon the different accent, depending upon the different expressions and the use of those words. Now some words are very generalized, like in uses. You use it very generally.
Yes.
Some words you will not use like very generally. So according those kind of clusters are very much required if you want your tool to connect to that database or this database.
Yeah.
Which tools did you use for
This WordNet,
Yeah.
WordNet was used, and it is based on the programming has been done in Java, and I have also used NetBeans.
which training tools you used?
Cleaning.
You must have trained the data.
Yeah.
So which training tools did you use here?
Means pardon.
Like you have trained the data, like you
Yeah.
have made the uses of those words with a specific meanings. You must have trained your algorithm that if such kind of sentences
Yes.
come, you pick like this. So which tools did you use for those kind of training?
So maximum entropy type of the tool has been used. Like whatever is the maximum closeness, like between the word har and pahnaya, between the word har and hui. Suppose if I say, so that type of clustering has been done by using maximum entropy approach. So maximum entropy means whatever is the information closeness, the more is the connectivity, the more appropriate sense would be obtained.
And what is the utility of this research? What do you expect this
Yeah.
to solve?
Sir, in every natural language processing applications, like we have taken the example of machine translation. So when, suppose if I am translating the word, I have eaten the apple. मैंने सफरजन खाया, सेब खाया. So in this case, or मैंने आम खाया. तो आम represents mango as well as आम represents common people, आम जनता. So in this case, if I want to translate some literature or any text, for example, it might be official document, it might be literature related document. If I want to translate into other language, if I take the machine translation application, then it needs to take care of the ambiguation. Because if I do not take care of the ambiguation part, so output would not be as per the requirement. Like in earlier cases, Google Translator we used to use. So in that case, word, if I used to type the word can, I can do it. So that can meaning would be anything at random. That can might be container, or that can could represent the ability. So that kind of output error might be
Which
generated.
tools did you compare as yet? Any tools you have compared as yet?
For Marathi, there was not as such rule available, but I have used the Giza++ tool, as well as I have used the tool which is developed by Stanford. So that Stanford NLP toolkit is there. NLTK it is called as Natural Language Toolkit. So for that purpose, English and Hindi and other European languages, they are availing those. So I tried it with Hindi, but I wanted to pursue on Marathi. So there was no tool as such available. But some work has been carried out by Dr. Pushpak Bhattacharya of IIT Bombay and his team. So he had guided me for this WordNet, original WordNet he had given me that time.
No, I think only clustering part is a bit like, maybe it is too early for me to comment, but I think it looks a bit ambiguous to me. How you have clustered all those approaches which you have used. If you use it like
Yes.
fine, I think the results also will be super fine. But some of the ambiguities, as I gave you the example,
Yeah.
we should try to address those issues. Otherwise, till this, there are so many people who can think.
Yes.
But that 8% which
Yeah.
is there, I think that makes much more sense.
So for that purpose, the same thing I told you, that I have
I
to go
understood you.
earlier to the context. That I have to get more contextual parameters.
And probably you have to use with different languages.
Yeah.
That is a big work actually. That's not a small thing.
Small thing, yes.
Yeah. So maybe you can guide your own PhD students when you have PhD students for those things. Okay. Interesting it was.
Thank you, sir.
queries.